Summary. Men in Skirts follows Frank and Johnny drifting into a birthday party at the Royal while visibly high, using false social connections to gain entry. The episode intercuts their internal monologues. Frank's is self-loathing and nostalgic, while Johnny's is abstract, stoned, pseudo-mathematical rumination. At the party, Frank becomes fixated on his ex-girlfriend Libby, who is now dating a man wearing a skirt, framed by others as a performance of femininity. Frank attempts to reclaim identity and relevance through subcultural posturing, particularly by approaching the hottest goth girl in Palmy and aggressively promoting his underground music. This culminates in his humiliation when she dismisses both his authenticity and his music. Meanwhile, Johnny drifts through conversations with conspiratorial strangers and eventually reunites with Jeebus, an old acquaintance whose youthful attractiveness becomes the subject of an intentionally uncomfortable joke. Frank realizes that he has become a forgotten hanger-on from his teenage years, mocked behind his back. The emotional climax occurs during Libby's band performance, where Frank is visually isolated from the crowd, reinforcing his alienation. This dissolves into a scene of Frank alone in his room, self-harming. The episode ends with Frank escorting two drunk teenage girls to safety, one of whom later flirts with him, offering a small but troubling sense of validation before the credits roll. Analysis. 1. Identity, authenticity, and subculture. A central theme of the episode is performative identity versus lived identity. The man in the skirt, the goth girl, Frank's underground music persona, and even the venue's anti-homophobia signage all represent socially legible performances of values and identity. Frank, however, exists in an uncomfortable middle space. He feels aligned with these identities, but is rejected by the communities that now codify them. His confrontation with the goth girl is pivotal. Frank articulates a critique of consumerist subculture, claiming authenticity, originality, and opposition to the mainstream. Yet he does so with entitlement and resentment. Her blunt response, "Your music sucks," punctures his ideological framing and reduces the conflict to a simple truth: sincerity does not equal quality. This moment crystallizes Frank's inability to adapt from youthful self-conception to adult reality. Johnny, by contrast, remains largely unaffected by these tensions. His detachment and absurdist logic position him as a foil. He floats above the social hierarchies that torment Frank, insulated by apathy and intoxication. 2. Masculinity, jealousy, and displacement. The title functions less as a commentary on gender and more as a symbol of Frank's displacement. Libby's boyfriend embodies a masculinity that is socially validated, sexually successful, and progressive. Everything Frank is not. Johnny's use of "that is so gay," even when acknowledging its derogatory nature, underscores his arrested emotional development rather than outright ideological hatred. 3. Alienation and self-harm. The transition to Frank alone with a knife is stark. Frank's self-harm is not framed as a dramatic climax, but as an extension of an already established internal state. It is unsettling because it is quiet and unceremonious. The later interaction with Alicia complicates this further. Frank becomes momentarily useful, protective, and desired, not by peers, but by someone younger and vulnerable. The episode does not moralize this. Instead, it leaves the viewer with an uneasy sense that Frank's validation comes from an ethically unstable place. Critique. Strengths. 1. Unflinching character honesty. Frank is not softened for sympathy. His bitterness, insecurity, and social failures are presented without apology. 2. Sharp observational dialogue. The script captures a very specific Kiwi social milieu: pub culture, aging indie scenes, and post-adolescent stagnation, with precision. 3. Effective use of discomfort. Jokes about sexuality, age, and self-image are intentionally abrasive, reinforcing the show's thematic core rather than undercutting it. Weaknesses. Risks. 1. Ambiguity around satire. Some viewers may misread the repeated use of homophobic language as endorsement rather than critique, particularly without a clear counterweight character explicitly challenging Frank. 2. Underdeveloped secondary characters. Libby, the skirt-wearing boyfriend, and the goth girl function primarily as symbols. While effective, this limits emotional complexity beyond Frank's perspective. 3. Self-harm portrayal. The knife scene is powerful but abrupt. Without contextual framing, it risks feeling either exploitative or insufficiently explored, depending on audience sensitivity. Overall assessment. This is a bleak, incisive episode that examines what happens when subcultural identity ossifies instead of evolving. It portrays a man trapped between who he was, who he wants to be, and who society now sees him as, using cringe comedy and social friction rather than sentimentality. The episode succeeds most when it refuses to redeem Frank, allowing his small moments of kindness and connection to coexist uncomfortably with his bitterness and regression. It is less about gender or sexuality than about irrelevance, aging, and the terror of being left behind, making it one of the more emotionally raw installments of Far From 11.